Devin and Charles are longtime comic book fans, and all arguments are made with love and respect for the characters. Just try to prove the points. If you have not seen part 1, make sure to check it out. Sources for all arguments can be found at the end of the video and in the description.
Previously on
Mutually Assured Destruction.
I'm Charles.
I'm Devin.
And today we are having a discussion. 3 categories of our favorite Spider-Sona. Devin and I have not actually discussed our choices yet.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's got going on over there.
And I have no idea what he's got going on over there. So the 3 categories we will be doing will be drip, of course. Who has the flashiest flash and the drippiest drip? Power, who got top feats, who really putting the 1s and the 2s together to...
Who putting the work in on the hood, man? That's really who's
Facts. Who gonna lift the boats? Who gonna carry the boats? And...
Wait,
who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? That's you, buddy. Gotta find our David Goggins Spider-Man. And then...
we now return to our regularly scheduled programming.
I think I'm gonna go next with the power. I feel like we can't not agree on this one. I feel like this one's very universal. Some would say, just some, that he is a bit overpowered, over favored. I'm not one of those people, but I am talking about Miles Morales for the power category. And you know what? If you don't have the same opinion, dude, it's not even close. Okay. It's not. Miles Morales debuted August 2011 in the Ultimate Fallout #4 comic. Okay. Now let's talk about this. I have resources upon resources about this character here. Okay. So
Questionable resources.
first things first. I mean, we could talk about his energy powers, his venom, as he calls it, being OP. We could talk about his durability, taking hits from Rhino, taking hits from Spider-Man, a venomed Spider-Man at that.
That is pretty powerful.
We could talk about him absorbing Electro's energy.
Hello, dear from the editing room. This is one of many times while we're at the cut-in to correct the lies the Devin will tell about Miles' abilities. Not only have I never seen Miles absorb electricity and have found no evidence of him absorbing electricity, in the few interactions he has had with Electro, he never once absorbs his electricity. Buyout is one very important question for Devin.
Why the you lying? Why?
We could talk about him producing a venom punch so powerful that that Electro is electrode. You know what I'm saying? Like they're endless, really. They're endless. I just think that there hasn't been a Spider-Sona as powerful, and I don't mean that in a strength feat, but all around well-rounded power like Miles Morales.
Okay. It's a fair choice. And I'll say
your choice?
It is not my choice. I will say I considered it. The Venom, his Venom, not Venom, the character. His Venom is most definitely a strong contender for why I almost chose him. His camouflage and his venom brought him very close to being my pick. But I actually chose, and it's kind of ironic because part of the reason that made me want to choose Miles Morales was the amount of work he put in to the entire Spider universe in Across the Spider-Verse. The amount of work he put in on those Spider-Sonas was elite.
Yeah.
But, and this is kind of ironic, I chose comic book Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it. Really?
Now
He is goated.
He is goated. He is goated. And I will say, I feel like the Spider-Verse film kind of downplayed his capability.
I can agree with that.
Because the feats that I have for this man are honestly insane.
We can go feet for feet. We can go
feet for feet. They have nearly the same capabilities. Miguel does not have a spider sense, though. Miguel does not have a spider sense in the comics.
Check brain for details.
But he does have enhanced senses. You know, his spider capabilities are, you know, given through DNA splicing with his own DNA and another spider's DNA. You know, his first appearance being in Spider-Man 2099 issue 1, and his own standalone story, and of course eventually having a crossover with our mainline 616 Spider-Man Peter Parker. But he not only does he have all of the same abilities as Peter Parker's Spider-Man, but in addition to that, he actually has been confirmed to have a greater healing factor than Peter Parker. He also has organic webbing, retractable claws that are strong enough to cut through steel.
Yeah.
And fangs that have paralyzing venom inside of them. That alone was not enough to make me choose the character, though. It was the insane feats. On 2 separate occasions, Miguel O'Hara went toe-to-toe with a Thor.
Okay.
Check brain for details.
Okay.
And one of their first, this version is not a main timeline Thor. This is a Thor avatar. Darag Couture.
Correction, it is actually Dargo Couture.
They had a pretty decent quick squabble between each other. And in that fight, he proceeds to dodge almost all of Thor's attacks, including lightning, given a spectacular speed feat. And then in a later altercation, he winds up in a separate issue, in a completely different story. He winds up fighting his main universe's Thor.
I was lying!
Check brain for details.
And Heimdall. And in it, the fight starts with Heimdall throwing his sword, which he has control over, in that he can control its direction, and he proceeds to dodge it. Not only does he dodge the throw, he then proceeds to get the sword and go toe to toe with Thor with Heimdall's sword. Now, I had multiple other things. His fight with the Submariner and a one-shot KO, dodging laser bolts at point-blank range. But I think the fight alone between a Spider-Man and Thor and Heimdall, and there is one moment really stuck with me. Thor proceeds to throw his hammer at Miguel. He tanks the hit, flies out the window, and then redirects Mjolnir into another direction.
There's still we could still go feet for feet. This is good though. Now, these feats that you are talking to me about are monstrous, okay? Clearly, Miguel O'Hara is some form of a GOAT, okay? But we're talking about Miles Morales. We talking about the same man who tanked a thunderclap from the Hulk, okay? We're talking about the same man who took out Miss Marvel, you know, with his powers. We talking about the same man who KO'd Rhino countless of times. Is Thor stronger than Hulk? Right? Like that's a conversation. Now that's a whole different thing.
But what Devin and Charles did not realize during this debate is that Miguel had also tanked a thunderclap from Maestro. Details on screen.
Right. That's a whole different thing.
That is indeed a conversation.
Both of them are taking hits from people who shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? If we being real, I just don't think that they line up with everything that Miles has at his disposal. Energy constructs. This man made an electricity sword. It started boxing. This man stopped the sword mid-swing. This man tagged Nova. I just don't think that they're on the same level. I mean, dodging Spider-Man's webbing. Dodging Spider-Man.
Dodging lightning.
He don't need to dodge it.
Stop the cap.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Wait a minute now. This is not immune to all. Lightning and electricity are not the same thing.
It is at this point that you can hear Charles' lack of confidence in his knowledge of Miles' ability keeps him from pointing out that his bioelectricity is not the same as pure electricity, and he is not immune to any and or all electrical attacks.
And for your argument, his venom that took out, that's another thing. Part of why I do not believe in the venom as strongly is that almost all of Miles's high level venom attacks come at a huge drain to his stamina. Huge, like an immense drain. He has an ultra venom blast that leaves him nearly crippled for a good portion of time.
Okay.
And we talking about a clash. I think stopping Thor's hammer in its tracks is an incredibly telling feat.
Okay. I mean,
tanking Mjolnir thrown at your chest?
Liar!
okay. No. What about? But it's still the Hulk thing, though, right? That's still a thing that we can. That's still debatable.
Again, Miguel tanked the same attack from an equivalent to possibly stronger version of the Hulk.
And at that argument, we take somebody who your feat for Miles was him tanking a thunderclap. My feat is toe to toe with Thor. Thor often goes toe to toe with the Hulk. And as Stan Lee famously said,
and there's one answer to all of that. It's so simple. Anyone should know this. The person who'd win in a fight is the person that the scriptwriter wants to win.
Of course.
Whether Thor is stronger than Hulk or Hulk is stronger than Thor is always going to be up for debate. But tanking one attack as opposed to fighting to a standstill. Not quite a standstill, because he does get thrown out of a building. So, but still.
I mean, but also, let's not even talk about just durability, though, right? I even then, I could give you that, right? I could give you that. We haven't seen Miles.
Okay.
We haven't seen Miles accomplish something along those lines, but we can talk about his invisibility to the point where people like the likes of Thanos can't detect him.
This was not a battle feat. Details on screen.
To be fair, Thanos isn't the paragon of senses.
I mean, but Spider.
We not talking about somebody who's unable to be snuck up on. Not saying it's not impressive, but
I mean, sneaking up on Spider-Man.
That's impressive. And I would argue though that part of what makes that so impressive is Peter's spider sense, right? Part of what makes that so impressive is that Peter has a spider sense, and that should have alerted him to his presence. But his capabilities, his invisibility made it so that didn't happen. Now, Miguel doesn't have a spider sense, but he does have greater enhancement to his senses than normal spider people, considering about half of his DNA has been spliced with a spider. His smell, his sight, his temper differential may be enough for him to have the capability to notice something change and be more aware of Miles' presence than the typical Spider-Man.
Miguel has a capability to sense Venom's presence through a visual energy signature, whereas Peter Parker has been shown time and time again to not be able to sense Venom with his spider sense.
Because I would argue that Spider-Man I would argue that he relies on the spider sense.
Peter also admits himself that he might be relying on his spider sense too much.
Okay. Even as far as, but there's still things like being able to restrain Miss Marvel. Being like, there's still things that this man has that's ridiculous, that I think is just that makes him one of the most powerful Spider-Man. It's how he uses them, right? Now, again, I feel like the same argument could be made for Miguel, but I feel like his creativity with his powers, it also makes him really formidable. I mean, what makes you think that someone's senses being better makes them a better person to fight someone that they can't see or detect?
What makes you think it can?
Spider sense can't detect you. What makes you think your nose can? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would argue that it's entirely possible.
The spider sense is superior. Spider sense is superior. Spider sense is superior. Spider sense is superior.
The reason why the spider sense can't detect it is because he is a spider person.
That's mysticism. You're dealing in devilry. Okay, we don't. What is this new devilry? We don't have a canonical reason. They put out witchcraft.
Hocus pocus. Avada Kedavra.
Again, though, man, like, draws blood from Tombstone, taking hits from Tombstone, draws blood from Ultimate Green Goblin.
Ultimate Green Goblin is a feat.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is, I don't know.
Do you think Ultimate Green Goblin is stronger than Thor?
Who's Thor?
I am the god of thunder!
Wow, I didn't hear any thunder, but out of your fingers, was that like sparkles?
Which Thor? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Thor Odin's son.
Cap.
and Heimdall. That's a crazy feat, bro.
And Heimdall.
For our audio listeners only, this is one of the few times you definitely are going to want to check out the screen for more information and read all of it, because while Miguel O'Hara has fought 3 different characters holding the title of Thor. None of them are the original Prince of Asgard, son of Odin, God Offender.
When Heimdall throws the sword, this is actually a great feat for his senses, because Heimdall launches his sword while Miguel is facing the opposite direction. It was solely through his senses, not a spider sense.
Okay. Yeah, that you spitting. We also we talking about the same person who took a hit from old man Logan. Who took a hit.
Well, okay, hold on, wait a minute. Old man Logan is not even a feat. That taking a hit from old man Logan is not a feat. Not because he's old, but Logan has never been billed as a physically strong in terms of like punching strength and lifting strength. That's not where Logan's factor, his power factor comes in.
That's not a strong suit is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slashing and veracity and not being able to be killed is very much more his selling point. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Logan is incredibly strong. But
so do you think are you basically saying that Miles Morales' Venom carries him?
Well, don't get me wrong, he's still a Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? He still has all of the same powers as Peter Parker, and these are OP powers, you know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I got real love for Miles, Miles is definitely, he's one of those guys, but I definitely think the Venom is what would set him apart and set him above. And I think those are like great points. But I think when you have shown feats of literally going toe to toe with 2 gods, and the possibility that, because don't forget, Miles's general venom works off of contact because it interacts with the nervous system. It needs to have some type of contact with them. Now, when he creates an energy construction, that's slightly separate, and his ultra venom blast is more radial. But like I said, that does come with a large drain on his stamina.
Miles' Venom Strike has been shown to not be a guaranteed takedown. Miguel may also have some resistance to the strike due to his healing factor, as well as his suit being made of unstable molecule fabric, giving him extra defense to certain attacks.
I mean, that's fair. But we were talking about senses, right? But do you think that Miguel will even be able to touch him? I mean,
I beg your pardon?
Miguel will even be able to touch him.
Nani?
Holy Jesus. What is that?
What's this? Huh?
Even be able to touch him. I mean,
oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Even be able to touch him. I mean,
huh? Oh, y'all can get touched.
About touching some shit you gonna touch, bro.
Touching everybody that's touchable in that.
Better hope you don't get touched.
I don't get touched. I do the touching.
His spider sense can detect teleportation.
What did he say?
So, do you think nobody can touch Miles? Is that your argument?
He's been touched.
Not a soul. He's never been touched. Because just because you can sense it does not mean you are capable of stopping it.
It can be touched. But I also think that's... Yeah, but I've always kind of felt this way about the spider sense, bro. Spider-Man only get touched because they need to in the writing. You know what I'm saying? Like, spider sense, you shouldn't. If you really think about the power, bro, you should not be able to be touched. That's mysticism.
So his argument is something that we've never seen.
That's not proof. It's still debatable, but it's a good piece of evidence.
Do you disagree?
The concept, yes, but I also think that there's clearly a reason he gets touched. He can't do everything. He is still just a person.
That's okay. I'm not letting you have this one. But pulling out Thor is
this man redirected Mjolnir.
Are you sure?
Thor is crazy. That's a crazy feat, man. That's just, he's knocking out Venom. Now with the Venom sting, of course, yes, but he also does have electricity, like reduction, like it doesn't.
During this recording, Devin was under the impression that Miles can absorb electricity. This is solely due to his appearance in the Spider-Man PS5 video game franchise. Prior to recording, Devin and Charles had not thoroughly outlined the parameters of this debate. Post-recording, it was decided that it is not appropriate to use feats from the games due to the Across the Spider-Verse film establishing that the games are a separate canon universe, meaning that comic Miles is different from the games Miles, and different from the Spider-Verse film franchise Miles, giving the possibility that they could have different abilities. Miles has been shown to not have the ability to absorb electricity within the comics. In fact, he has been electrocuted on multiple occasions, and upon further investigation, Miles' ability within the games is not as cut and dry as just absorbing electricity. As you can see on screen, he actually literally electrocutes himself and turns that electricity into his venom, which is shown to cause great pain and effort to achieve. So, even if it were admissible, it would not be the feat Devin proclaims it to be.
Now, I'm not saying lightning from Thor is something that he could just swallow, you know what I'm saying?
Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing?
I don't know, bro. Thor is a crazy feat. That's wild. I can't even say combat-wise. No, I can say that. I feel like he's better combat-wise. He's more agile. He you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if they fought head on, face to face, then it wouldn't even be in question.
Wow. Whoa. See, you think what makes you think he's more agile? What's your evidence? I would argue dodging lightning from Thor, you know.
I mean, dodging teleporters.
Oh my God. Stop lying.
Is also a feat. That's also a feat.
It is indeed a feat. But I didn't think that they had better, clearly. Me personally, I would say if they went toe to toe, it would be close. I would say I think it would be a draw.
Yeah.
And the singular time we've seen them go toe to toe, it ended with a remove from Battlefield.
Yeah. Look, we're gonna have to agree to disagree. In fact, I want you guys. I know everyone's gonna be on my side on this one. I mean. What Samuel Jackson said, a cultural cheat code?
Wow, okay.
Hispanics are not in. They're not in the zeitgeist right now. I win.
I like you, man. You lie a lot.
Hey. Anywho. I'm actually very shocked that we didn't agree on that one. That's crazy.
I was very close to choosing Miles. In fact, I got through like half of his list before the thought came to me to go check out 2099.